Hey, it's Blaze. I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to talk about some God of War Ragnarok. Pretty much I played the game, like I said before in the past video. I played it, I beat it. Only part I can say story-wise, at least main story-wise, that I haven't done is I didn't go to Brock's funeral yet. I'm going to do that, but I just haven't. But in terms of what I want to talk about was the main villain, of course, Odin. Um, Really? I did like the story. Part of me felt like I had a problem with its pacing, but the pacing was actually pretty good. That's my cat, if you want to know. The pacing was pretty good. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't bad at all. It was, I mean, there are some questions here and there that are left unanswered, but it also gave us some insight as to possibly what to expect in the next game, as to why Kratos could do this, why he can't do that. And one thing I don't know. It's also just mostly about Odin and some stuff about Kratos as well. Now, at the end of the game, we did see that Kratos, at the backside of that mural, where I don't know if it meant like another story, in another landscape, not landscape, in another mythos, so to speak, or something like that, where he would be revered. Not yeah, revered, or at least looked up to or worshipped or followed by some people, where he would be seen as the god of war. And if I remember correctly, I think he was either holding his axe or his blades. I can't remember that part, but I mean, it is what it is, right? And for me, that could mean two things. For one, it kind of made me think back to when I first saw it, about how, when I think, what was it, Freya and Atreus had mentioned that, oh yeah, when Kratos was talking about all the stuff while he was in game, was talking about like some of the powers that he used to have. Because I mean, realistically, for me, when I was playing it, I was like, dang, if Kratos literally had all the powers that he had back in the original God of Wars, I don't think this whole mythos would be like a big problem. I mean, first game, dude turned giant and was able to fight Ares. I mean, granted, a lot of his tools were, gifted from the gods of that mythos, but they were still abilities that he could have. I mean, come on. Shoot, one thing that I did, even when he was fighting Heimdall and they were making the whole thing about having that spear, I was like, shoot, in God of War 3, didn't they have like that whole attack? I think it was like a Ares' thing or something like that, where he would have like a bunch of arrows come raining down and like shields with like spikes on them or something, something like that, right? I was like, dude, if he just hits Heimdall with that, like, shoot, it'll be over with quick, right? Just stuff like that. I was just thinking, I'm like, dang, if Kratos literally had his powers from the original God of Wars, I don't think this would even be an issue. Like, they kind of technically needed help to like defeat Odinus and all that, But I was like, man, this dude is literally doing everything off strength. I mean, like, seriously, he's strong. Like, luckily he still has that and everything. Luckily he still has that and everything. But yeah, it's crazy. But I don't know. I was thinking, well, shoot, at what point, because this is it for the whole Greek mythology, not Greek mythology, uh, whatever this mythology called, I forgot, Norse mythology, mythos, and all that stuff, right? So I was like, at what point, if he did have his axe in that mural, at what point would he be revered as, you know, a god, right? Because he was followed by people in God of War 2, if I remember correctly, as the God of War, and he still had his powers, his influence was good and everything. But if we're going into a different mythos, and technically how Frey was saying it, well, he doesn't have his powers like he did in the original God of Wars because his homeland isn't there anymore. I mean, shoot, literally, technically, the Earth is basically like that. Earth is kind of like dead, which maybe not. Maybe the gods are, maybe there's some more formed up and he just doesn't know any of the newer ones, if there are any at all, because technically he stabbed himself and released hope onto the world, even with all those typhoons and lightning strikes and tornadoes and tsunamis. I mean, he still gave hope unto that world, so I'm pretty sure there might be some survivors out there, right? But you never know. um it was just something to think about. That was one thing. And also Odin himself, I did feel like going through the story, it was like, man, it never felt like he was some over looming villain. Like how best thing to look at is like best example anybody can relate to would be Marvel, right? When Thanos came along and everything, and then now you got Kang, which I'm not even interested in all that Marvel stuff anymore. I got disinterested after Spider-Man No Way Home came out. That's pretty much what I was waiting on. After that, I clocked out. Right now, the only thing I'm waiting on is Daredevil. That's it. I haven't really watched any of the newer stuff. But what I'm saying is, when you have looming threats like that, who are just portrayed as this big bad thing, and they bring that big bad, I want to say energy, but you know, you got to do it right. And I think that the original God of Wars, even up until God of War 3, and of course the following stories with like Ghosts of Sparta and Chains of Olympus and even Ascension and all that stuff, right? They did it right. They gave us the payoff. But going into here, it seems more focused on storytelling, which even the original ones were too. But Odin felt more grounded, and his threat was more towards the knowledge and control rather than just me being a big bad. I'll throw powers at you. Now, I mean, the final boss fight was pretty good. It wasn't bad, but it never felt like he was just some overly looming villain who could just pop up at any moment and just destroy everything, right? It didn't feel like he had a need to just destroy everything. Yeah, he might have killed people in the past and destroyed some stuff. I mean, shoot, he even found a way to block off the 9 realms, right? And he had done some bad stuff, but especially with that thing with him being Tyr, that surprised the crap out of me. And I have seen a spoiler where you actually find Tyr in like some room or something, like the real one. And apparently some of the dances that he does is supposed to be a hint towards the next mythology or whatever. Maybe not. I don't know. But when he stabbed Brock, that surprised the crap out of me. But one thing I did really like about this game is that it it didn't do what the MCU is trying to do and other stuff, how they portray big bads, especially in this type of game industry. The payoff was good, and it also kind of felt like a follow-up game, which when I first beat the game, I was like, it kind of felt like it was just more of a game to end this story and just follow up the next one, which that's kind of what you're expecting. It sold well. It's a popular series. They already said they got ideas for different stuff. So, of course, naturally, they're not just going to make it seem like it's ended there like they did God of War 3, right? Because God of War 3, partially, to me, it felt like, well, shoot, it felt like there had to be some type of continuation, but it felt like, dude, this is it, I mean, even in Ghost of, was that Chains of Olympus? I think that Kratos had actually had a chance to be in heaven or wherever, Olympus, with Calliope, and something happened. I think it was one of the Titans was like just like destroying stuff or something. And what's her name? Persephone, wasn't it? Maybe that was Ghost of Sparta. I think it was Chains of Olympus. And they were like doing stuff with Pandora's box, or at least they thought that one was Pandora's box or something like that. Maybe it was. I don't know. And he decided to go back, and yeah, he left Calliope, but at least Calliope, was in Olympus and happy and dead and everything, right? And that was a part. It kind of got me. I was like, well, shoot, he technically had his shot, you know. But one thing I want to know, and I kind of want to ask, was wow, because how they were like talking about this whole green rift thing with Odin, his control, basically seeking truth and knowledge in order to have control over his own self and basically other things, was like, well, shoot, maybe that might be a key. I don't know. Maybe that might be going into where we're heading next. Maybe not. I have no clue. I thought it would have been pretty freaking funny with that mask. I thought they were just going to bring out Jim Carrey at some point. That's the only thing I kept thinking of with that mask. Because I was like, bro, that would be so freaking funny if they just brought Jim Carrey with the mask out with that. That would have been hilarious. And I would be like, dude, yeah, you just got some overpowered goof. I mean, basically, But I don't know. I just want to know because technically, if only Asgard was destroyed, right? You still got the 9 realms. You still got his axe. Technically, his axe should work if he goes to another mythos. But I thought it was because he wasn't in that mythos that some of his stuff still didn't work, regardless of if those gods were alive or not, right? But I don't know. Maybe it is still connected to the land, and he's still able to use it in another mythos completely. Maybe the next game will be something like a continuation with Atreus, because for me personally, I'm like, well, if they're gonna do something with Kratos, I kind of want to know exactly what we're stepping into, because as we can see, he's older. I mean, beginning of God of War, this dude he was at least 30. I mean, that he had a wife and a kid. He was at least 30. I don't know his exact age, but he's been alive for a while. He's got crow's feet. He's got a full beard, and I mean, we're talking about another leap in, another, I don't want to say time leap, but you know what I mean. If we're going to possibly have some time pass by in between storylines, how old of a God of War Kratos are we looking at? You know? And I mean, would this just be a more older, wiser Kratos who really isn't looking for the fight anymore? And that's kind of what we already ran into with these God of Wars, the past two, and going in the further future. I mean, he's technically kind of accept, like, yeah, you know what, dude, I'm a God of War. I kill, these mythos gods and all that stuff. It is what it is, right? I don't know. It's something to look forward to. I want to see what they're going to do. I want to see what kind of ideas they have. I just really appreciate how they treated Odin in this game. I kind of wish it was a little bit more. Part of me wishes it was a little bit more of a upscale battle type of thing, but not really. He was relatable. A lot of stuff he did, it made sense. Kratos was kind of overpowered. Not overpowered. Let me say it like this. He was strong, but the way that they grounded him, I think they did it perfectly to explain as to why he can't use any of his abilities because it's tied to that land. That's great. But like I said, shoot, I think if he actually did have those powers, Norse mythology would be no problem for him to like take over. I mean, I'm just being honest. They would literally have to up the ante with Odin like completely higher, like way higher. And he's powerful. Don't get me wrong. I mean, having Bifrost as a power is strong. Having body manipulation where we can just transform into other people. I mean, shoot, he was even as strong as Tyr when he did that. I mean, I'm not. I don't want to say it's a big feat, but it is. It really is. I mean, the dude did kill a giant, which I thought that they were going to hint at how some of the giants were missing with Atreus and all that stuff. I thought they were going to say, well, the giants just left the Norse mythology and went over to Greek mythology, and that's how all that stuff kind of started with Zeus and all that, as to why they even have their powers. You never know. And it kind of, I did see a video briefly explain when Athena did die, which I forgot about that. When she died, that she like kind of like ascended because she was trying to like basically, I think how it was like save Zeus or something. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forget God of War 2. I just usually end up skipping to God of War 3, and that's usually what I be thinking about a lot because of that ending fight. Just all the fights in the game was freaking fire. But maybe it's connected to that. And I was thinking maybe that might be a reason. Maybe some of the giants did end up leaving Norse mythology and going over to Greek mythology, or at least to that plane of existence, and they started the whole Greek mythology thing. And maybe not. I don't know. It's something to think about. But now we also know that the blades are completely tied with Kratos. I thought he just saved them because they were weapons that worked against other ones. Why wouldn't it work against them? But shoot, even with the connection saying that they have like the eternal flame or something in them or something like that, or like the old flame with what's his name? No, not Tartarus. What's that dude's name? What is that guy's name? The dude that's supposed to bring about Ragnarok when he turned into Ragnarok, technically. That's why also I was thinking about that some of the actual Norse mythology mythos people actually did go over to Greek mythology, or at least to that plane of existence before, because it would explain as to why in the first game Kratos' Blaze of Chaos even worked in Helheim in the first place, even though it's some other land type of fire, and that's why they were technically kind of like a foe. What's his name's wife that it was actually able to stab the heart and activate Ragnarok. It would make sense. That's what I was thinking, and it would just kind of think that we're technically you could say well all of them are tied anyway, and that's why the green little rift matters that much because technically all of them would be tied. It's just you have different realms of existence, different mythos gods whose powers work to that specific plane of existence. So I think that's what I was thinking about. But I can't wait to really see what else we got in store. Because really we had a God of War. I think Ascension was the last one before 2018 God of War. I think. Yeah, because I think it was a prequel to all of them. I think. And it was. I think that's the only one I didn't play. That is literally the only one I did not play. I never even seen too much gameplay of it. I don't know what happens in that game, but I don't know. That's what I was just thinking about. I just really did appreciate how they did Odin. He just felt more relatable into what he was pursuing. It just didn't seem like he was just destroying himself and controlling stuff just because the dude had a valid point. I mean, people look up to them. Who is he supposed to look up to? What's his purpose? And also a theme that ran along the whole time. Why do we live so long? Why are we still here? What is it for? Is it even worth it? And I think that's kind of one of the reasons as to why Zeus even got so crazy in the first place as well. Shoot, he was there that long. I mean, the dude just kept. I think after trying to learn fates and this and all that, and then learn about it was just a lot of stuff that went into it. It does make sense. It's really cool. I don't know. That was a video. I think I went on a little bit too long about it, but it was just some stuff that I thought about. That was pretty cool about the story. Just made a video just because I just felt like recording and talking about it. At least my experience and how I felt after the game. Some of my latest videos, I don't really edit them out or cut them or anything like that. That's kind of how I rather like it. I never script anything, and the stuff that I have scripted, that was like when I first started my YouTube stuff. Usually now I just go off the rip. So hopefully you like the video. Hopefully I didn't drag too much stuff out, but have a blessed day.